Hello students, in the last session we have discussed modules in Python. In today's session we will discuss files. So files are used to store information. Python programs can easily read and write to the files. So let's start with files in Python. Every computer system uses files to save things from one computation to the next. So files are generally used to save things in the program. Python provides many facilities for creating and accessing files. So creating and accessing files in Python, it is made very easy. Python achieves operating system independence by accessing files through something called a file handle. So the Python uses operating system or achieves operating system independence of accessing file because all the operating system have its own way of creating and accessing files, but Python achieves this operating system independence by using something called as file handle. Now look at the code here. The code is name handle is equals to the function open, and two arguments which have been passed are kids and w. Both the arguments are of type string. So this particular function creates a file kids and open it in write mode and assigns the file handle to the variable name handle. So this particular function creates a file and open it in the write mode and creates a link to that file, and it will store that link or handle to that file in a variable called as name handle. Once you have a handle to a particular file, you can read or write from the file. Now if you look at this statement, we have opened the file for writing, means we can write into the file. So looking at this simple line of code, you will understand that how easy it is to read and write from files in Python. Okay, let us look at an example. So the following code opens a file, uses the write method to write 2 lines and then closes the file. So look at this segment of code. So the first line here, it is name handle is equals to name handle, it is a variable or you can consider as object, is equals to the function open and the file which we are opening, it is kids. If the file doesn't exist, it will create one and opens, and the file is open in the mode that is write mode. Now once you have the file handle, or this variable is pointing to a file name with a name kids, then you can write information to the file. Now how you can write the information? Okay, here we have used a for loop to write 2 lines to the file. So for loop for I in range, so range function we have already studied. Range function, it is used to generate the sequence. It takes 3 arguments generally. The arguments are start, stop and increment, but we can skip some arguments. We can skip start and increment, but one argument is compulsory, that is stop. In this particular range function, only one argument is used, that is 2, value 2, and this is considered as stop. When other 2 arguments are not specified, by default it is considered as start is considered as 0 and increment is considered as 1. So this simply means this range or this for loop iterates twice or two number of times for value 0 and 1. Okay, initially the value 0 will be assigned to I, and then value 1 will be assigned to I. Okay, look at the code inside the for loop. The first line inside the for loop says name is equals to raw input. Raw input, it is a function which is used to read value from a user. So raw input, a message which we want to display, it is enter name. Suppose user enters something at this point and that will be stored in variable name. Then we are using name handle which we have created. So this is the name handle which we have created. We are using it here, name handle dot write. The method write is used to write some information to the file. So write what we are writing, whatever we have read into a variable name, that we are writing, and to that we are concatenating with a special character. The special character is /n, means a new line character we are adding. So it will write some information, and we are also moving the cursor to the next line by using /n. So these are two statements included inside the for loop. We have one more statement here, but this statement is outside the for loop, remember. So these two statements are executed twice because this is a loop, and this loop will repeat for 2 times or twice. So these two lines are executed 2 number of times, and it will write the information to the file kids. And after that we are closing the file handle by using name handle dot close. And closing the file handle, it is very important, and if we do not close the file handle, there is a chance of losing the information which we have written to the file. So it is important that after finishing the writing or even reading from a file, it is better to close the file handle. Okay, so this is how we can write to a file by using Python code. Even in a similar way, we can read from the file. So we can now open a file for reading, now using the argument R, and print its content. Now let's see a code by which we can read from the file. So again, name handle is equals to open the file kids. The argument here, it is different. The argument is R. R represents read. The file will be opened in a read mode. So once the file is open, or once the file handle is created, we can read from the file. Python considers a file as a set of lines, so we can read information from the file line by line, and that is the reason we have used a for loop here for line variable in name handle. See, name handle is pointing to a file that is kids, means name handle includes the contents of a file which is in terms of number of lines. So when I say for line in name handle, the first line which is present in the file kids is assigned to variable line, and the same we are printing by using print statement. So print line, it will print the first line, and then again the loop is repeated for number of lines in the file kids, and all the lines are printed. And at the end we are closing the file handle with a statement name handle dot close. So this is how we can write to a file and we can read from a file in Python. Looking at this code, you will feel this is very simple to read and write from files than reading and writing from files in other programming languages. Okay, let us execute this code and see how we can read and write from the file. Okay, I'll copy this code first and I'll open idle. Okay, let's create a new file, and I will paste the code which we have copied. Okay, this is our code which creates a file kids and opens it in a writing mode, and we are writing some information to the file. So let me save the file. I'll say file okay, file underscore read. Okay, we are writing to a file here, so I'll say file write, and let me save this program in B drive. Okay, I'll save it in F drive. Okay, program is saved. Let us execute it now. Okay, the program is executed. Now you can see we are inside the for loop. It is asking us to enter the name. So if you look at the statement here, raw input, enter name. So we are at this particular line, and the message enter name is displayed here. So I'll enter the name, say I'll enter Ramesh, and once I press enter key here, this information will be read by raw input, and that will be stored in a variable called as name. Okay, so that is stored in a variable called as name, and then one more line was executed, that is name handle dot write the name, that is name was having a value Ramesh, and that we have stored in a file called as kids, and the loop is again executed. So second time again it is asking enter the name. As I've told, this loop will repeat for 2 number of times. So second time again it is asking us to enter a name, so I'll say Suresh, and again I'll simply press enter, and once I press enter, again that information is returned to kids, and as this loop has already executed twice, the loop will end and it will come here, that is name handle dot close. So the program closes the file handle, and that's it. There is nothing in the program down, so program ends. Now you can see the program ends. Now as I have executed this program, that means the file with name kids is created, and we have written 2 lines in that file. The lines are Ramesh and Suresh. So let us verify this. As I have saved the program in the drive, that is F, we will just check the F drive for a file with the name kids. So do we have a file with the name kids? Yes, you can see here we have a file with the name kids. So let me open this file. Right click, I'll open it with Notepad++. Okay, now you can see in this file there is information, that is Ramesh and Suresh, which we have written to this. We have written to the file. That means our program executed successfully, and it has written the information to the file. Now this is about writing some information to the file. Now let us see how we can read from a file. So let me create one more file now, one more new program. So new file, and I'll copy the code for reading. So this is my code. Okay, so again we are opening the same file kids, but now we are opening it in a read mode, and we are reading the information from the file, and we are printing it. So let us see. Let me save the file first. Okay, I'll save file underscore of read and save the file. The file is saved. Let me execute, and the expected output is the 2 lines which we have already written to the file. The 2 lines were Ramesh and Suresh. So let us see if it returns the same. Run module. Okay, now you can see it is returning the data which we have written to the file earlier, Ramesh and Suresh. So this is how we can read from the file. So this is very easy to read and write to the files in Python. Okay, that's it for today's session. We will stop here. We will study about files even in the next session. Thank you.